I didn't even have time to shake the snow off my coat before the crash. Legal documents slammed onto the glass coffee table, echoing through my Beacon Hill townhouse like a gunshot. "Sign it, Garagos." "Not Dad, just my first name," spat like a curse. Laura stood in the living room wearing a silk robe, holding red wine that sloshed dangerously. She pointed at the papers. I walked slowly toward her. My knees ached from the cold. 50 years on construction sites will do that, but I kept my back straight. I picked up the document. Quit claim deed, transfer of ownership. "This is the deed to my house," I said quietly. "Ryan needs the money." Laura stepped closer. "The company's drowning. You're sitting on $4.5 million while your family goes under." I looked past her. My son Ryan sat in the wingback chair with whiskey, staring at his shoes. 42 years old, looking like a scared kid. "Ryan, is this what you want?" He opened his mouth, closed it. Drank instead. "He needs it," Laura snapped. "You're 72, wandering this museum like a ghost. We found Golden Horizon, a retirement community. 5-star care. You'll be safe." A nursing home. Think about it. No stairs, no maintenance. "No," I said. The word hung in the air. Simple. Absolute. Laura's practiced sympathy turned ugly. "What did you say?" I said no. "I'm not signing over my house." I turned toward the stairs. Then her hand connected with my cheek. Not a slap. A strike. My glasses flew across the floor. The room went silent except for wind against windows. "Dad!" Ryan gasped but didn't move. Laura stood there, hands still raised. Shock turned to a sneer. "Pick them up," she hissed. "Then sign the papers." I bent down slowly. My hand trembled, not from fear but from rage so cold it felt like ice. I put my glasses back on. I could have yelled, thrown them out, but they didn't respect my voice. They thought I was senile. So I decided to become the silent man, the man who plans. "Fine," I said softly. "Maybe you're right. I'll need tonight to say goodbye. Tomorrow night I'll cook dinner, invite your investors. I'll sign in front of everyone. Leave with dignity." Laura's smile was slow and victorious. They had no idea. I walked upstairs and called my lawyer. "Bob, I need you tomorrow, and call your friend at the federal prosecutor's office." I woke at 5, like always. The bruise had bloomed overnight, purple and yellow across my cheekbone. I went downstairs and started cooking. Bacon, eggs, coffee, the smell filled the house. They came down around 8, Laura's heels clicking, Ryan heavy-footed. "Good morning," I said. "Coffee's hot." Confusion radiated off them. Laura sat down and the performance began. Her face crumpled, tears on command. "Dad, oh God, I'm so sorry. The stress, I haven't been sleeping. You know I love you, right?" Ryan jumped in. "She was up all night crying. We didn't mean to hurt you." I pulled my hand away. "You mentioned a plan." Laura's tears vanished instantly. She pulled out a glossy brochure. "Golden Horizon, luxury senior living, $500,000 for lifetime care. With the rest, Ryan saves the company and builds a future for Ethan." I knew Golden Horizon. 3 years ago, they'd wanted my firm to build it. Substandard concrete, cut corners on fire suppression. I'd thrown them out. Now Laura wanted to lock me in that death trap. Rage flared, but I pushed it down, made my hands shake, hunched my shoulders. "It looks nice," I said, voice wavering. "And they have a spot now," Laura urged. "We need to sign today, list Monday." "No," I said. Her smile faltered. "Not today. I want a dinner, tomorrow night, a farewell dinner. Invite your investors. I'll sign in front of them, show them the Caldwell family is united. I want to leave with dignity." Laura calculated. An official ceremony would look fantastic to investors. "That's wonderful, Dad," she beamed. "A celebration." "I'll cook. Beef Wellington. One last meal from my kitchen." "Fine. Whatever makes you happy. Be ready by 7. I walked out slowly, the gait of defeat. But in the hallway, I stopped. The mirror angle let me see back into the kitchen. Laura stood by the microwave, typing on her phone, smirking. In the reflection, I could read her text to someone named Blake. "The old man took the bait. He's signing tonight. Get the tickets ready. Zurich is calling my name." She wasn't saving Ryan's company. She was stealing the house to leave him. I smiled coldly. "Tonight, you're going to choke on it." I told them I needed truffles, gave me 2 hours alone. I drove to the North End, parked illegally. The beat cops knew my car. I'd built their precinct in '92. 3 flights up to Bob Williams's office, gold letters peeling on frosted glass. Bob had been my friend since Vietnam, my lawyer since day one. He looked up when I entered. His smile died when he saw the bruise. "Who hit you?" His voice was low, dangerous. I sat down. "It doesn't matter. Don't lie to me." "My daughter-in-law." Bob stopped dead. Jaw tightened. He nodded once, walked to his safe. "I assume we're not filing assault charges. You're here for business." He tossed a manila envelope on the desk. "Last week you asked me to check Ryan's finances. You said he was evasive about loans." I opened it, scanned the numbers. My stomach dropped. I'd left Ryan a company worth $12 million, zero debt, a money printing machine. Now, $2.8 million in debt, 3 bank loans, vendors unpaid for 90 days. "What's this?" I pointed. "Crypto Future Holdings? $4 million?" Bob sighed. "Your son's an idiot. He mortgaged equipment, leveraged contracts, and invested it all in cryptocurrency and NFTs, digital pictures of monkeys." I stared. 40 years building hospitals, schools, libraries, real things, and my son traded it for internet magic beans. "Market crashed last month," Bob continued. "It's worthless. Banks are calling loans, 30 days to bankruptcy. That's why they want the house." But I remembered Laura's text, "Zurich is calling my name." "Ryan's a fool," I said, "but Laura isn't stupid. She knows the ship's sinking. She's not saving Ryan. She's planning to steal the money and leave him." Bob frowned. "You sure?" "She's cheating on him. If the company's broke but she's buying Zurich tickets, she's got money stashed. Call Jack Thompson, the private investigator. I need to know where Laura goes Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. I need pictures, bank statements. I need to know who she's with and where the money is." Bob nodded, dialing. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Jack had something. "Meet me at the Home Depot parking lot in Revere. 1 hour." When I arrived, Jack handed me an envelope through his car window. Photos spilled out. Laura entering restaurants, walking into hotels, getting into a black Mercedes with Blake Sullivan, my enemy. 10 years ago, he'd tried to destroy my company. Bribed inspectors, spread rumors, poached foremen. I'd crushed him in court. Now, he was kissing my daughter-in-law. "There's more," Jack said, handing me a recorder. I pressed play. Laura's voice, clear. "He's signing tonight, Blake. The old fool ate it up. Ryan's an idiot. He thinks we're saving his crypto. The money goes to Cayman, then Zurich. First class, one way." "Blake, what about the old man and the kid?" Long pause. Laura. "Garagos will be destitute. Ryan goes to jail for hidden payroll taxes. And Ethan, Madison can take him, or foster care. I can't take a 10-year-old to Zurich. He reminds me of his father. Weak." I closed my eyes. Not for me. For Ethan. She was abandoning my grandson. The sadness hardened into something cold and dangerous. I drove straight to First National Bank. Peter Sterling, the branch manager, smiled when I walked in, but his smile was tight. "Mr. Mark, wasn't expecting you until next month." "I need a full credit report, Peter. All liens against the Beacon Hill property." He went pale. "Are you sure? Maybe we could schedule now." He typed, eyes darting. The printer whirred. He handed me papers, hesitating. "Garagos, I assumed you authorized these. Signatures matched, notary stamps valid." I took them. First page, $1.5 million, 3 home equity lines of credit, last 8 months. I flipped to applications. My name, my signature at the bottom. Perfect forgery. Almost. But when I sign, I press harder on the upstroke. This was too light. Drawn, not written, and it's slanted right. I'm left-handed. My slant is left. A right-handed person signed this. "Who owns Shell Corporation 88 LLC, the wire transfer recipient?" Peter clicked keys. Face went white. "Laura Mark." I understood now. Laura needed to sell the house not just for $4 million, but to cover up fraud. If I sold, the bank would take their $1.5 million cut, loans paid, fraud buried. But if I refused? Foreclosure notice, investigation, discovery. She was desperate because she was running out of time. Bank fraud, wire fraud, identity theft, federal crimes, 30 years each. Peter, don't freeze accounts yet. Don't alert her. Let payments go through. Give me 24 hours. He nodded reluctantly. After that, I have to report it. That's all I need. I called Bob from the car. Laura forged my signature. 3 mortgages, $1.5 million. Wire fraud to shell company. Silence. Then, Jesus, that's federal. Call the U.S. attorney. I want the FBI, the kind that buries people. You're sure? Once you ring that bell? She's abandoning Ethan, Bob. Called him dead weight. Make the call. 7 o'clock tomorrow at my house. I hung up. Drove home through darkening streets. The trap was set. When I got home, small footsteps echoed on the stairs. Ethan appeared, 10 years old, eyes red. Grandpa, Mom said you're leaving, said you're never coming back. My heart broke. I knelt down. Ethan, look at me. I'm not going anywhere. Nobody's making me leave, I promise. His lip trembled. But she said it's done. That's why. He pulled something from his pocket. My passport. I stole it, he whispered. I hid it. If you don't have your passport, you can't leave, right? I looked at this brave, scared boy. He'd stolen my passport to keep me home, while his father sat downstairs letting his wife plot my destruction. That was when my resolve became absolute. Laura wasn't just a thief. She was a threat to my grandson. I slipped the passport into my coat. You're brave, Ethan, but you don't have to worry. Tomorrow night, everything gets fixed, I promise. How? Go upstairs, play video games. Put on headphones. Don't come down no matter what you hear. Can you do that? He nodded, trusting me completely. I watched him run upstairs, heard his door close. Then I went to the kitchen, pulled out my chef's knife, started sharpening it. Shink, shink, steel on steel, the sound of preparation. Tomorrow night, I'd serve dinner. And justice. Laura thought she'd won, thought the slap had put me in my place. She had no idea. I touched my bruised cheek. That was the most expensive slap in history, Laura. Tomorrow, you get the bill. Sunday morning, 5 a.m., sharp. I stood in my kitchen, the only place in the house that still felt like mine. The bruise on my face had deepened overnight, a permanent reminder of what this family had become. I pulled the beef tenderloin from the refrigerator. 3 pounds of prime beef, expensive as hell, worth every penny. Cooking a beef. Wellington is architecture, it's engineering. Layers matter, moisture control matters. If you rush the foundation, the whole structure collapses. I'd learned that pouring concrete in the 80s. I heated the cast iron pan until it smoked, then seared the meat. The hiss was violent, steam and smoke smelling of iron and blood. I watched the crust form, dark and caramelized, sealing the juices inside. While the meat rested, I chopped mushrooms. Thousands of tiny pieces until they were almost paste. Sautéed them with shallots and thyme, watching steam rise. You have to cook all the water out. Any moisture left makes the pastry soggy, ruins everything. Patience is the only tool that works. Behind me, heels clicked on hardwood. Laura breezed in wearing a red dress, too tight, too bright. Phone pressed to her ear. Yes, send the listing agreement tonight, she said, pacing. I want it live on MLS by 8 tomorrow morning. We're pricing at $4.8 million. Yes, he's signing tonight. Done deal. She didn't even look at me. I was furniture. A tool performing a function. I spread prosciutto on plastic wrap, overlapping slices with mathematical precision. The barrier layer, protection between pastry and meat. Laura hung up and walked to the stove where chestnut soup simmered. Ruth's recipe, simple, earthy, tasting like winter. Laura dipped a spoon without asking, tasted, wrinkled her nose. God, Garagos, she said, dropping the spoon back with a clatter. It's bland. Did you forget salt? I guess your taste buds are dying along with everything else. She laughed, short, cruel. I didn't look up, just kept rolling the beef in prosciutto, using plastic wrap to tighten the cylinder. Firm, even pressure. Too loose, it falls apart. Too tight, you bruise the meat. I seasoned it perfectly, I said quietly. But soup's just the starter. You'll find the main course has a very distinct flavor, quite rich. She rolled her eyes. Whatever, just don't burn it. Investors will be here soon. I want everything impressive. She clicked away toward the dining room. Impressive? Yes, it would be impressive. I unrolled puff pastry, cold and smooth, brushed it with egg wash, painting yellow liquid with delicate strokes, placed the meat in the center and began folding, the final layer, the facade, golden and flaky in the oven, hiding the red meat inside, a beautiful lie wrapping a bloody truth. Just like this dinner. I scored the top with decorative patterns, leaves and vines, unnecessary, but I wanted perfection. I slid it into the oven, set the timer, 40 minutes, that's all the time they had left. Ryan wandered into the kitchen around noon. He clutched a whiskey bottle, but his glass was empty. He stood there, staring at me, at the bruise. "Dad," his voice cracked. "That bruise on your face, Laura did that, didn't she?" I kept chopping vegetables. Didn't answer. "I'm sorry." The words tumbled out. "I'm so sorry. I just sat there. I didn't defend you. I'm a coward." I set down the knife. Tossa looked at my son. For the first time in years, his eyes were clear. Not glazed with alcohol or avoidance. He was actually seeing. "Yes," I said simply. "You are." He flinched but didn't look away. "She's been acting strange lately, secretive. I found her looking at plane tickets yesterday. To Zurich, just one ticket." He set the bottle down, hand shaking. "Dad, I think she's going to leave me." I studied him. This was the moment, the fork in the road. I could protect him from the truth, let him stay in ignorance, or I could give him the chance to be a man. "Come with me," I said. I led him to my study, closed the door, opened my laptop. "Do you really want to know?" Ryan nodded, terrified but resolute. I showed him the photos. Laura kissing Blake Sullivan, Laura with papers spread at the restaurant, the flight itineraries. Then I played the audio. Laura's voice filled the room. "Ryan's an idiot. He has no idea the money's going to Cayman." Ryan's face went gray. He gripped the desk. "Garagos will be destitute. Ryan goes to jail for hidden taxes. They're dead weight, Blake." Then Blake asked, "What about Ethan?" Ryan looked up sharply. Laura's laugh. "Madison can take him, or foster care. I can't take a 10-year-old to Zurich. He reminds me of his father. Weak." Ryan made a sound like a wounded animal, not crying, something deeper, the sound of a soul breaking. "She's leaving our son," he whispered. "She's abandoning Ethan." I stopped the recording. Ryan sat there, staring at nothing, hands trembling. "I destroyed everything, didn't I?" His voice was hollow. "The company, our family. I was so stupid. The crypto, the investments. I thought I could get rich quick. I thought..." He looked at me. "Dad, I'm sorry for all of it, for being weak, for letting her hurt you." "Sorry doesn't fix anything, Ryan." "I know." He stood up, unsteady. "But I want to help, tonight. Whatever you're planning, let me help." I studied him. Saw something I hadn't seen in years. A spark. Small, fragile, but there. "Tonight," I said, "you sit at that table. You stay quiet. And when the moment comes, you do exactly what I tell you. Can you do that?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, sir." For the first time in a decade, he called me sir. Maybe there was hope for him yet. 5 o'clock. Laura checked the dining room, practically vibrating with excitement. The table looked magnificent. Ruth's wedding china, white porcelain with gold trim, crystal wine glasses catching candlelight, heavy silver. Laura had invited 2 of Ryan's investors in a notary public, and my special guest. "Who is this mystery guest of yours?" she asked, adjusting a napkin. "A banker? Private equity?" I lit the last candle. A man very interested in real estate transactions, has a keen eye for detail, never misses anything. Laura's eyes gleamed. "Perfect. I have the comps ready. The house will sell fast with proper representation." She touched my shoulder, close to where she'd slapped me. "You're doing the right thing, Garagos. Finally thinking about family." I looked at her hand. Didn't flinch. "Yes," I said quietly. "Finally thinking about family." She didn't hear the edge in my voice, too busy planning her escape. Ryan came downstairs wearing a suit that fit too tight. He'd been stress eating, or stress drinking, probably both. He looked at me. I gave him a small nod. He understood. Tonight, he'd sit, stay quiet, let me work. Laura poured wine, checking her phone every 30 seconds, probably texting Blake, probably already tasting Swiss champagne. "They'll be here at 7 sharp, she announced. "Investors are punctual. It's a good sign." Yes, I agreed. Punctuality is important, shows respect. I returned to the kitchen, checked the Wellington, perfect golden brown crust. I let it rest on the carving board. In the distance, I heard a car door slam. Laura squealed. "They're early. Perfect." The doorbell rang. 7 o'clock exactly. Not early, precisely on time. I picked up the carving knife, tested the edge against my thumb, sharp enough to split a hair. "Show time," I whispered. Before going downstairs, I stopped at Ethan's room. He was building with Legos, but his hands were shaking. "Grandpa?" He looked up. "There's people downstairs. Mom's really excited. She keeps saying tonight everything changes." I knelt beside him. "Ethan, I need you to stay up here tonight, no matter what you hear, okay?" "Why? What's happening?" "Grandpa's fixing things, making the house safe again, but it might get loud, might get scary. I need you to put on your headphones, play your games. Don't come downstairs until I come get you." His eyes were too wise for 10 years old. "Is Mom in trouble?" I paused. Kids always know more than we think. "Yes," I said honestly. "Your mom made some very bad choices. Tonight, she has to face them." "Is she going away?" "Yes." Ethan bit his lip, then nodded. "Okay." No tears, no protest, just acceptance. Because deep down, he knew. He'd always known his mother didn't love him the way she should. I hugged him tight. "I love you, kiddo. Nothing changes that. You're staying right here with Grandpa, always." "Promise?" "I promise." I kissed his forehead and stood. As I reached the door, Ethan called out, "Grandpa, thank you for not leaving." I looked back at him, this brave little boy who'd stolen my passport to keep me home. "Wild horses couldn't drag me away," I said. I closed his door gently, heard him put on his headphones. Then I went downstairs. Voices drifted from the foyer, Laura's bright greeting, but it cut off abruptly. Confused silence. Then Laura's voice, sharp. "I'm sorry, who are you? I think you have the wrong house." I smiled. Time to serve dinner. I walked slowly down the stairs. Laura stood in the foyer, backing away from the open door. Her face had gone pale beneath her makeup. 3 men stood on the threshold. The first wore a charcoal wool coat over a severe black suit, steel gray hair, eyes like a man who'd seen every lie humanity could tell. He held a leather briefcase. Behind him, 2 younger men in windbreakers. The jackets didn't quite hide the bulges at their hips. Not suits. Uniforms of enforcement. "Harrison, what?" Laura stammered, looking at me wildly. "Who are these people?" The tall man stepped forward. "Mrs. Laura Mark?" His voice was dry, professional, empty of warmth. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm Assistant United States Attorney David Harrington." He reached into his coat. Laura flinched, but he pulled out a folded document with a blue cover. "These are Special Agents Miller and Johnson from the Federal Bureau of Investigation." One agent flipped open a leather wallet. The gold FBI shield gleamed in the chandelier light. It was small, but it sucked all the air from the room. "FBI!" Laura choked. "Why is the FBI here? This is a mistake. Harrison, tell them." "I invited them," I said calmly from the stairs. Every head turned to me. You invited the FBI?" Laura screeched. "Are you insane?" I walked down slowly, past Laura, into the dining room where the beef Wellington sat perfectly carved on its silver platter. "Mr. Harrington was very interested in some loan documents," I said, pouring myself wine. "The ones you signed at First National Bank, the ones with my name on them." The blood drained from Laura's face completely. "I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered. "What loan documents?" "The ones for $1.5 million in second mortgages," I said, taking a sip. "On the house you don't own, using signatures you forged." Harrington stepped into the dining room, placed his blue document on the table. "Mrs. Mark, we have a warrant for your arrest. Bank fraud, wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit money laundering." Ryan stood up so fast his chair crashed backward. "Arrest? For what? I didn't do anything." "Your wife did," I said, looking at my son. "She forged my signature, stole $1.5 million, and she was planning to steal $4 million more tonight." Laura looked around wildly. At the door, at the windows, the agents shifted, blocking her path without even moving. This is ridiculous, she yelled, trying to recover. He's confused. He's senile. He signed those papers and forgot. He's old. I pulled out my phone, connected to the Bluetooth speaker. Before you keep lying, I said, I think everyone should hear the truth. Laura's eyes went wide. What are you? I pressed play. Her voice filled the room, crystal clear. Ryan's an idiot. He has no idea the money's going to Cayman. As soon as the wire hits, I'm transferring $4 million to Zurich. Laura's face twisted in horror. The trap had sprung. The recording played through the speaker, Laura's voice sharp and clear. Ryan's an idiot. He has no idea the money's going to Cayman. As soon as the wire hits from the house sale, I'm transferring $4 million to the Zurich account. Ryan stood frozen, staring at the speaker like it was a venomous snake. Blake's voice. And then we fly? Laura's laugh echoed through the dining room. First class, one way. By the time Ryan realizes the money's gone, we'll be skiing in the Alps. Laura lunged toward the speaker, but Agent Miller stepped smoothly into her path, a wall of muscle. Turn it off, she screamed. It's fake. AI, deep fake. He's old. He's crazy. It's not fake, I said calmly. I opened the folder on the table, spread photographs across the white linen. This is you, Laura, May 12th, First National Bank, signing loan applications with a notary. Harrington picked up one photo. The notary has already confessed. She identified you. Admitted. You paid her $5,000 cash to verify false identification. She's in custody, cooperating fully. Laura stared at the photos. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish on a dock. These could be anyone, she said weakly. Blurry photos don't prove. The handwriting analysis does, Harrington interrupted. He pulled out another document. FBI Forensic Lab compared the loan applications to writing samples seized from your office this afternoon. 100% match. He placed a blown-up image on the table. Side-by-side comparison. Laura's handwriting. The forged signatures. Identical. You made one mistake, I said, standing up. I walked around the table until I stood directly in front of her. I'm left-handed, Laura. I've been left-handed for 72 years. My signature slants left or stays vertical. I pointed at the signature on the document. This slants right, because you're right-handed. You drew my signature, very carefully, very precisely. But you couldn't change the fundamental physics of how your hand moves across paper. Laura backed against the sideboard. Trapped. Ryan was shaking. He looked at his wife with an expression I'd never seen before. Not anger, something colder, recognition. You forged Dad's signature, Ryan said quietly. You stole from him, from us. I did it for us, Laura shrieked. The company was dying. You were too weak, too stupid to save it. The company died because I'm an idiot, Ryan said. His voice was steady now, eerily calm. I invested in crypto. I gambled everything. That's on me. He stepped toward her. But you weren't trying to save the company. You were robbing us blind, planning to run. Laura's face twisted. You're pathetic, Ryan. That's why I did it. Because you're a spineless loser who couldn't run a lemonade stand. Mrs. Mark, Harrington cut in sharply, I'd advise you to stop talking. But Laura was beyond advice, beyond reason. There's more, I said quietly. I looked at Ryan. You need to hear all of it. I pressed play again. Blake's voice. What about the old man and the kid? Ryan's head snapped up. Ethan? Laura tried to lunge for the speaker again, but this time Ryan blocked her, his hand on her shoulder, holding her in place. The recording continued. Garagos will be destitute, Laura's voice said coldly. The IRS will come after Ryan for unpaid payroll taxes I hid. They'll both end up in prison or on the street. They're dead weight, Blake. Ryan's grip on her shoulder tightened. You hid taxes? You were going to let me go to prison? And Ethan? Blake asked on the recording. Silence. Long. Terrible. Then Laura's voice, casual as ordering coffee. Madison can take him, or foster care. I can't take a 10-year-old to Zurich, Blake. He'd cramp our style. Besides, he reminds me too much of his father. Weak. The room went silent. Ryan's hand dropped from Laura's shoulder. He stepped back, staring at her like he'd never seen her before. Ethan, he whispered, you were going to abandon our son, leave him in foster care. Ryan, I didn't mean... You called him weak. Ryan's voice cracked. He's 10 years old. Our son. And you were going to throw him away like garbage. Laura's mask finally shattered. The performance ended. Yes, she screamed. Yes, I was going to leave, all of you, because I'm drowning here. Drowning with a husband who's a failure, a father-in-law who's a ghost, and a kid who's just another burden. The slap echoed through the room. But it wasn't me this time. Ryan had hit her. Not hard, not violent, just enough to stop the words coming out of her mouth. His hand trembled as he lowered it. Don't, he said quietly, talk about my son. For the first time in his adult life, Ryan Mark had stood up for something. Laura touched her cheek, shocked, then her shock turned to rage. She grabbed the steak knife from the table setting. You gutted me, she screamed at me. You senile old freak, you destroyed everything. She lunged. But Ryan moved faster than I'd ever seen him move. He stepped between us, grabbing her wrist, twisting it until the knife clattered to the floor. No, he said. His voice was steel. You destroyed everything. Yourself. Agents Miller and Johnson moved in immediately. They pulled Laura's arms behind her back. The sound of handcuffs ratcheting shut was loud in the sudden silence. Click, click, click. Laura thrashed as the agents held her. Get off me! This is entrapment. That recording is inadmissible. He recorded me without consent. The recording was made in a public restaurant, Harrington said calmly. No expectation of privacy. Perfectly legal. And your friend Blake Sullivan has already been picked up. He gave us the Zurich account numbers 20 minutes ago. In exchange for a reduced sentence, Laura went limp, and the fight drained out of her, leaving only a hollow shell. You have the right to remain silent, Harrington continued, his voice flat and professional. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. I know my rights, Laura spat. She looked at me with pure hatred. You're not family. You're a monster. I walked toward her slowly, stood close enough to see the fear finally breaking through her anger. Family doesn't steal, I said quietly. Family doesn't lie. And family certainly doesn't strike the people who raised them. I leaned closer. You slapped me, Laura. I took it. I let you have your moment, but you weren't just hitting me. You were hitting my legacy, my grandson's future, and for that, I don't serve forgiveness. I straightened up, looked at the agents. Take her out. They pushed Laura toward the door. She began screaming again, cursing my name, cursing Ryan, cursing the world. Her voice echoed down the hallway and out into the cold night. Then the front door slammed. Silence. Just me and Ryan in the wreckage of the dining room. The beef Wellington sat untouched on the table. The wine had been knocked over, staining the white tablecloth red like blood. Harrington packed up his briefcase. Mr. Mark, we'll need your full statement tomorrow, 9 a.m. at the Federal Building. I'll be there. He nodded to Ryan. Mr. Ryan Mark, we'll need to speak with you as well, about the payroll tax situation. I'd advise you to retain counsel. Ryan nodded mutely. Harrington left. The door closed. Just father and son now, standing in the ruins of what was once a family. Ryan sank into a chair. He didn't cry, just sat there, staring at nothing. I poured 2 glasses of the 95 Cabernet, handed one to him. Dad, Ryan whispered, I'm so sorry for everything. I sat down across from him. Sorry doesn't fix anything, Ryan. I know. We sat in silence for a long moment. Then I said the hardest thing I'd ever had to say. You're fired. Ryan looked up, eyes red-rimmed. What? Effective immediately, you're no longer CEO of Caldwell Construction. Your access is revoked. The company accounts are frozen to you. Dad, please. You ran a $12 million company into the ground, I said. You gambled on cryptocurrency. You let your wife commit fraud. You sat there while she slapped me and did nothing. Ryan's shoulders slumped. I know. I deserve it. Yes, you do. I took a drink. Tomorrow you're going to find a lawyer, a good one. Pay for him yourself. I'm not spending a dime defending your negligence. What am I supposed to do? Ryan's voice broke. I have nothing. No job, no money, no wife. You have a son, I said sharply. Ethan is upstairs, scared, confused, wondering if his whole family is falling apart. Ryan looked toward the stairs. Here's what you're going to do, I continued. You're going to find a job, any job. You're going to work. You're going to learn what a dollar weighs when you earn it with your hands instead of speculation. You're going to pay rent somewhere, build a life from zero. And Ethan? I'm filing for custody, temporary, while you get your life together. Ethan stays here, safe, stable, with someone who won't abandon him. Ryan flinched like I'd hit him. But, I said, if you do the work, real work, not shortcuts, if you prove you can be a father instead of a child, you can earn him back, earn the right to be in his life. Ryan wiped his eyes. How long? As long as it takes. I stood up. Could be 6 months, could be 6 years, that's up to you. Ryan stood too, looked at me directly for the first time in years. I'll do it, he said. Whatever it takes, I'll do it. I nodded. Good. Now go upstairs. Tell your son you love him. Tell him you made mistakes but you're going to fix them, and mean it. Ryan walked toward the stairs, paused. Dad, thank you for not giving up on me. I didn't do this for you, Ryan. I did it for Ethan and for myself. He nodded. Understood. Then he went upstairs. I was alone in the dining room. I touched the bruise on my face. It still ached. But it was worth it. Summer. South Boston construction site. I stood on scaffolding, watching concrete pour for a new community center. 72 years old, but I was back in the field, CEO again. First one on site at 5 a.m., last to leave. The debt was being paid down. The reputation was being rebuilt. Tom Miller, the foreman Ryan had fired, was back running the crew. We were building real things again. Cut to federal courthouse. I'd attended Laura's sentencing last month. She'd worn an orange jumpsuit 3 sizes too big, hair dull, roots showing gray. The judge had looked at the evidence, the forged signatures, the wire transfers, the recorded confession. 12 years, federal prison. No parole. Blake Sullivan took a plea deal. 3 years minimum security. Laura had no deal, no mercy. She'd looked at me as they let her out. No hate left, just vast empty terror. I hadn't smiled, hadn't gloated, just watched her go. Cut to my house evening. I picked up Ethan from school. He climbed into my new truck, a Ford F350 work vehicle. Smiled, happy. Did you bring the wood glue, Grandpa? Right here. We drove home, set up in the library. We were building a model of the house together, teaching him to read blueprints, measure twice, cut once. Grandpa, Dad called yesterday. He asked if he could visit. Ryan was working warehouse night shift in Chelsea, $15 an hour, studio apartment, learning what struggle meant. He called every week, never asked for money, just asked about Ethan. Do you want to see him? I asked. Ethan considered carefully. Not yet. He needs to work more. He's not ready. I smiled sadly. My grandson was wise beyond his years. You're right, kiddo. He's not ready. But someday, maybe he would be. We worked on the model until sunset. Ethan sang in the shower afterward, the sound of a happy child. I poured the last of the 95 Cabernet, raised the glass to Ruth's photo on the mantel. I cleaned it up, love. The house is safe now. The wine tasted like victory. I was alone in a big house, but I wasn't lonely. I was the guardian at the gate, and the gate was holding. The lesson I learned at 72, unlimited generosity doesn't create gratitude. It breeds monsters. Family is defined by respect and integrity, not just bloodline. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't giving more. It's saying no. Never let your sacrifice become a weapon used against you. I touched my healed cheek one last time. That slap cost Laura 12 years of freedom. Sometimes justice is a meal best served cold, with beef Wellington.